and Croker second row with Carlaw loose forward. And on the bench, Guisset, Duport, Casti and Jean-Philippe Bale for coach Mick Potter. Now the Wigan Warriors, unchanged from last week. Mathers at full-back, Calderwood, Phelps, Carmont and Richards, Barrett, who's the captain, and Luluai. The forwards, Fielden, Hyam and Coley, Hanson, Bailey and Tompkins. And the bench here, it's Paliacida, Hock, O'Carroll and Smith. The coach is Brian Noble. Well, this is Catalan Dragons' biggest ever night in their brief history and a golden opportunity here for them to enhance their growing reputation. But this will not be easy. Wigan drew in France last month and they'll be going all out to avenge last year's Cup semi-final defeat at the hands of the Dragons, deemed at the time as one of the great Cup upsets. It promises to be a really tight game. Some are predicting that extra time for the first time in playoff history could be on the cards tonight. Well, let's see if Bill and Phil agree as they set the scene for us from Perpignan.
Well, thanks very much. It has been a beautiful day in Perpignan. The temperature's still in the 20s, I reckon. There's hardly a breath of wind and the atmosphere building up before what is a massive game for the Catalan Dragons. The sun just setting here in Perpignan. The question, Phil, is the sun setting on the Wigan Warriors season?
Well, when you look at recent performances between these two sides, you do tend to favour the Catalan Dragons. You know, Wigan haven't managed to beat them in the last 4 outings. And then when you come to this stadium, you tend to realise the difference that home advantage provides for the French team. The passion in the town and the feeling inside the stadium as this match builds adds an extra dimension to the home team.
But you say that, but the Catalan Dragons, handicapped by the loss of Gregory Muniz, they're feeling very hard done by his suspension for one match, this match, for dropping an elbow into the face of Chris Riley in the win against Warrington last week. And Muniz is going to be a big loss, isn't he? He's
a highly important player for them, but they do have the strength in depth, in particularly the forwards. Jamal Fakir will start the game in his place, and we saw what impact he had on the game against Warrington last week. Catalan are particularly strong in their forwards, and Wigan will have to at least manage to hold them in the middle part of the field to give themselves a chance of victory here tonight.
Come on, you're bigging up Catalan Dragons, but Wigan will go into this game with confidence, with an unchanged side as well.
Well, the fact that they have put in 2 fantastic performances in the last 2 weeks gives some consistency. That consistency has given confidence, with Trent Barrett and Thomas Luluai almost at their best. Wigan are a chance, but they'll have to be at their best.
Yes, they will, and look at the crowd inside the Gilbert Brutus Stadium, and a fantastic night for this match between the Catalan Dragons and the Wigan Warriors. Barry McDermott's here in the studio watching with me. Barry, home advantage counts for a lot at this stage of the playoffs.
I think it does, and I think especially when you go to the Catalan Dragons with the conditions, the sun, the heat, the humidity, but I tell you, a massive part of this game will be the start and the intensity. Wigan and Catalan need to match the intensity of last night's fixture. Leeds and Saints showed how much passion and pride they had in that game. They showed how much they needed to commit to that, and we'll see if these two teams can match them.
We just saw a glimpse of the Wigan crowd. They've got great support over there as the Dragons come out. You know, people in Super League thought it would never, ever happen that a team that finished bottom a couple of years ago could actually be challenging for a place in the grand final, just as Penrith did at the start of this century in the NRL in Australia. It could happen for this French team tonight.
I think it could, and I think it possibly will. I think the go forward from the Catalan side is excellent. The kick return from Green Shields is essential tonight, and Wigan need to negate that. They need to get good go forward themselves and live off those offloads.
OK, well, it looks as though we're just about ready to get underway. The sun setting, as Bill Arthur rightly said, in the south of France. Is the sun setting on one of these two's season? Well, we shall see. Our commentary tonight comes from the Stade Gilbert Brutus. Waiting for us there is Steve-O, Phil, and first of all, Bill Arthur.
Thanks, Eddie, and it is a rousing atmosphere that Wigan entered to here at the Stade Gilbert Brutus. A sound system. Three, lost 2, drawn 1. The last time they were here, that 16-all draw. And Clint Greenshields, member of the Dream Team, collects the ball, and Olivia Ellimer collects the first hit, and that is a determined start in the tackle from the Wigan Warriors. 80 minutes of that to come here, and Croker, the next charge for the Dragons. capacity crowd here at the Gilbert Brutus. Among the 10,000, probably about 200 Wigan fans who've managed to find their way here. But it's the Catalan Dragons finding their way up to the halfway line at the moment.
Tremendous work there by the skipper, Casey Maguire. They really mean business. They are trying to get up and play the ball extremely quickly, trying to catch the Wigan first and second markers out of position.
Alex Chan, will this be his farewell appearance? Well, his farewell appearance it is at Perpignan. And Bosk hoists the first kick. Mathers, well, he's looking towards the building site behind him when he took that ball. Good positioning, good work from the fullback, Richie Mathers, but he took a hit there and he's back down now.
Yeah, he doesn't look well at all. There's a big hit by Jamal Fakir.
Mathers on his knees, as you can see, in back play there.
Well, it took a while for the trainer, the citizen, to get out there to attend to him.
Fielden, and they're in to greet him. Dane Carlaw went up top.
Any chance that the Warriors have tonight of coming away with a victory, they've realised they've got to muscle up. They've got to be very, very strong. That was the one thing that Mick Potter really got across to his side last week.
Luluai's kick is fielded by Justin Murphy, hero of that playoff victory against Warrington Wolves last week with those 4 tries, equaling the record for tries in a playoff held by Vainicolo and Harpe. Catalan in possession, the crowd getting on the back of the referee, Steve Ganson. He's oblivious to that. Dane Carlaw takes that one up. Maguire, this screaming for a penalty, the locals. Maguire for Olivier Elima, playoff experience with the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. He plays the ball. Here is Thomas Bosk. Bosk to Greenshields. Greenshields to John Wilson, another of the players who is leaving at the end of the season. Wilson gets the ball in field, does well there because he was heading for the sidelines, and it's Bosk in receipt of it now. Wigan thought they'd done the hard work there and got Wilson out of the field of play. Well, they did, but he didn't have the ball. Now here is Adam Mogg, the ringmaster for this Catalan Dragons side. Dimitri Pello pumps the ball back, and it's still loose. It's still on the last, I think. It's with Sebastian Raga. He'll chip and chase, and Raga is going to put pressure on Mathers, and Mathers has to kick that ball dead. He's a big unit, Sebastian Ragan, the former traffic warden from Toulouse, but he's got a very delicate touch, as he showed there with that kick.
Tremendous play by the French outfit.
Well, why isn't it a goal line dropout? It's the wrong decision.
He's got to be a dropout. It was kicked quite clearly by Mathers, and therefore it has to be a... Well, there's obviously a lack of communication, but surely Steve Ganson would have seen that quite clearly.
And the test judge putting Steve Ganson right on that. Wigan thought they got away with it.
In defence of the referee, though, here, he's having terrible problems with his communication with the touch judges, the video referee as well. And I tell you what, he's doing quite well at the moment to handle the situation, and maybe that was the reason why he just lost concentration there.
Well, he's having technical problems, that's for sure, but surely his eyes are still working.
Yeah, but this is a big game, not just for the players, but for the officials as well. So much at stake here tonight, and Catalan in possession again with the Catalan Dragons, and so much at stake. The last thing you want is beeps and whistles in your ears, which is probably what Steve Ganson's got at the moment.
Boy, that's power play. They're trying to just burst through, and there's the first penalty.
Too long, Phil. Too long.
Too long, Phil, says Steve Ganson to Phil Bailey. And they're on the charge again, and Carlaw is able to motor towards the try line and very nearly over it.
Well, they were caught asleep there with the Warriors.
They just stood and watched that tap. A
shocking pass.
Quicker off the mark there. Bosk finds Croker. Croker, 35 years of age. Be here for another season next year. Maguire, Mogg now. It's all Catalan Dragons in the opening 5 minutes here at the Stade Gilbert Brutus in this playoff tie. Thomas Bosk, Elima again.
Did well there, Mickey Hyam. Went for the ball-carrying arm, made sure he couldn't offload.
Maguire finds Thomas Bosk. Bosk puts the kick in, and this time it's well taken, very well taken by Pat Richards.
Who has claimed that he's taken it from inside the field of play. It was pretty close, and it was. Certainly jumped there. Pat Richards came from inside the field of play, and there is a real problem with Steve Ganson's equipment, which is hanging about behind his shorts.
Second goal line dropout then that Catalan Dragons have forced. An indication of the pressure that Wigan have been under, but if they can withstand this pressure, this opening salvo from Wigan, then they'll have done a good job, and that's a great goal line dropout.
He's kicked it 65 metres. His kick-off to start the match was a good one. He just needs some strength here now. You know what? Every team goes through a bad patch at some point in a game. Wigan are doing it tough at the moment, but they've got to remain strong here.
Maguire pops that ball up for Olivier Elmer, this big Catalan pack. Putting it shoulder in, and Wigan have got the rewards for their defiance.
I must say that Stuart Field in the prop forward for the Wigan Warriors have really put himself about. And it was in his involvement in the defence there. It's been good play by the Catalan side. Look at Fielder getting right into that ball-carrying arm, gets the shoulder through. Big relief for the Warriors.
Yeah, a bit of respite from the pressure that they were under. Great reputation Wigan have, the Wigan club has in this part of the world. Still much talked about by rugby league followers in the south of France who know their game, and this game billed, in fact, in the local media as a clash between the aristocrats of the sport of rugby league and the revolutionaries, the new club, the Catalan Dragons. Wigan, the aristocrats, and the revolutionaries looking to behead them here tonight. But it's Wigan who are in possession. Trent Barrett now then. He hoists the kick, and Greenshields is underneath it. His opposite number, Richie Mathers, is there to make the tackle, and it's a good chase from Mathers.
Great play from both sides. Huge kick there by Barrett. Crowd screaming for offside, and there's about 4 or 5 that the official could have selected.
Here's Dimitri Pello, the young winger from New Caledonia.
Well, it's
French speaker.
It's all action from the French outfit, and they really are trying to bust it through. Quick play the balls, but full credit to Wigan. Their defence is solid at the moment.
Mogg. He just stepped outside the 40 to put that kick in, and Mathers shaken off that early bang that he took, and then he gets another one. It was Croker and Mogg himself with the tackle on the fullback. Harrison Hansen, it was his try right at the death last month that snatched the draw for the Wigan Warriors. Well, Richards with a conversion as well.
Good refereeing there by Ganson. Okay, it was a bit messy at the play of the ball, but he wants more action. We certainly do.
So they're going wide. It's with Cameron Phelps. Made his Wigan debut here in June. What a memorable night that was. 45-38 the final score in that game. Catalan winning a 13-try match. You know, I don't think we're going to see that sort of free-for-all play here tonight. Barrett hoists another one. And this time it's Fielden who's putting the pressure on, and Greenshields, well, Fielden took him out before he got the ball, I think, there.
You know, it's a tactic that Brian Noble has employed previously in World Club Challenge games. When faced with an outstanding fullback, which Clint Greenshields is, he elects whenever possible to put a high midfield ball up and have as many of his players chasing through to put pressure on the fullback. They don't want to put the ball low to him and give him what Greenshield wants. Freedom to attack players at pace, stepping, swerving, and even passing before the line.
Alima. Good defence from Wigan to meet him on the 40-metre line.
Hold.
He plays the ball, he's got a bang in the mouth, Olivier Elmer there. And Morgan able to make good progress there. Andy Coley in with the tackle. Maguire cutting through. He's got Croker in support. Croker takes the pass. He's got Wilson. Calderwood is across to make the tackle. Or is he? Greenshields. They've got men out wide if they can reach them. Oh, the pass won't go to Pello. Pello manages to salvage it. Calderwood with the tackle, and they've blown a golden opportunity there of the Catalan Dragons. Bosk.
Tremendous play by Casey Maguire. Got the break, but full credit to Wigan. They got back in numbers.
Oh, it's a bad pass. They've lost the momentum of the Catalan Dragons. Mogg trying to rediscover it. It's Richards with the tackle.
That was amazing, Bill. How on earth Wigan got there?
Well, they covered well, did the Wigan Warriors. Bosk will put the kick in. Murphy will take it. It's too strong. It was too strong for Justin Murphy. He was in acres of space there. If Thomas Bosk could have found him, it was his for the asking. But he just overhit it.
There was no one there. The winger had just gone missing. Carmont had to come across, but you can see there, Murphy would have been an absolute gift if it had just been a little bit shorter.
Well, that's a let-off for the Wigan Warriors. Pat Richards had been involved in rescuing that situation earlier on and was virtually over the other side of the field. Murphy was in open space, but the kick was too strong. And Trent Barrett saying before this game, it's in these games when you need to take everything that comes your way. He puts the kick in, fires it straight at Greenshields. I think he was hoping for a 40-20 there, maybe, Trent Barrett. And Greenshields.
But it's pretty unusual in a 10-minute game of rugby league that one team doesn't have possession close to the opponent's line. You know, Wigan, I can't recall having the ball in a good attacking zone, and they're riding it pretty tough here because they're having to work so hard in defence. It's about a matter of control now. Can the Catalan Dragons maintain their control and completion rate?
Well, one positive is that the sun has set, but Clint Greenshields is on the charge now. He's going to take the tackle. There was no support. Carmont it was who made the tackle, standing over him. Could have been penalised there, George Carmont.
Should have been penalised.
Referee Ganson being very lenient. Wilson dinks the kick in. Mathers well positioned and takes that one.
Great work by Mathers, good position as well. As soon as he got the football, nice little step as well. Surprised that they opted for the kick into the corner. That's 2 clean breaks. So they have yet to put points on the board, Bill.
Will they regret that?
Without a doubt.
Well, Wigan are doing it tough. They brought on one of the big guns off the bench. Paliacina's now entered the field as Wigan shift it wide again to try and go around the Catalan defence.
Mind you, it took Catalan 18 minutes to get off the mark with a try against Warrington last week. Still only had 12 minutes in this one, and then once they got going against Warrington, there was really no stopping them. Barrett again putting a deep kick in.
That's the only way that they are getting deep into this Catalan's quarter, is through the kick from Barrett. As Phil Clark has already mentioned, they have yet to have possession of football in an attacking mode.
The Catalan crowd screaming for everything, every decision they want from the referee. The ground, a real mass of yellow and red, or blood and gold as it is on the flag of Catalonia. It's blood and gold against the cherry and whites here at the Stade Gilbert Brutus. Here's Dane Carlaw.
Pretty clever play though by the Catalans outfit. They're doing the inside pass in and around the play the ball area. Brian Noble has to get the message out. He's got to get that cover. First and second markers have to work harder. Oh, they've got away with it.
Well, they're playing patter ball there, and it's still going to come back to them. Everything is going for them, still on the last. Maguire gets it away to Murphy. Now Murphy back in field to Wilson. Oh, Wilson's just put a foot in touch. Catalan feeling they should have had 6 to go there, that Wigan had played at that earlier in the set.
Not only that, just got the foot out. Just so close, wasn't it? Carmont came to the rescue, but the crowd here, they were really getting on about the referee. There was a high shot in there, and it was completely missed by the officials.
Well, Wigan survived by the skin of their teeth again, but that's all they've got to do.
You can't do that for 80 minutes. You can't do that for 80 minutes, and they cannot continue to play the game.
But Catalan can't continue to play at this sort of intensity, surely.
Well, they certainly showed it against Warrington last week, but Brian Noble will be a very relieved coach indeed in the fact that they have got back in numbers, messing around, and this is a relieving kick. This will probably bring about the first real opportunity for the visitors.
Ellimer's shove on Joel Tompkins, and Wigan will take their time with this.
Well, they do all the hard work, and then they make a right meal of it. Ellimer goes right underneath, not allowing the man to get up quickly and play the ball.
Wigan's first penalty of the game. Catalan should have had a dozen already, according to the local crowd. Here is Fielden. Is he playing himself into World Cup form, Stuart Fielden? They need him the way the props are dropping.
He needs a big game tonight for Wigan, and they know it. He's got to lead by example. Palliasini will be a secret weapon as they bring him off, but well, that's good hands.
It is good hands. It's behind Calderwood, though. And Calderwood across the field of play. He's another player on the move after Hull at the end of the season. And Hyam, that's good work from Mickey Hyam, another one who's leaving. He's Warrington bound, but he's got work to do before he leaves this Wigan club. Trent Barrett has as well, Calderwood has, they all have. Work to do here tonight to try and stay alive in the playoffs and go to Leeds next week. St Helens, of course, await. On the last, Luluai with the kick. Now this time, it's Murphy who's under pressure, and Murphy deals with it well. He had Richards all over his back, and the little winger coped with it admirably.
Oh, that was well, how on earth does the official miss that? Trent Barrett is trying to take his head off.
And that, I tell you what, that is two former St George Illawarra teammates. Clint Greenshield saying in the week how much he admires Trent Barrett. I'm not sure he'll feel the same after that.
That was a shocker. And Greenshield's just looked in total amazement that the official, there he is, Steve Ganson, at first ignored the pleas for a penalty.
I tell you what, it's a good job for Steve Ganson, for Trent Barrett, that Steve Ganson's communications aren't working.
I'll tell you what, it's a good job for Clint Greenshields that he didn't connect with the forearm. It was more of the flat of the hand, definitely high.
So the penalty, and Catalan are back inside the Wigan half.
Quite happy again, Catalan, just working that system, bringing people back in. Short pass off the first receiver, in and around the play, the ball area.
Adam Mogg signed on for another 3 years with this Catalan Dragons side. Still waiting for the first points on the board here. On the last, Bosk hoists this kick. That's way too strong. It's almost in the building site behind the ground where they're building this new gymnasium and swimming pool. This ground expanding. And Thomas Bosk, who's normally very accurate with his kicking, really was wild with that one. Brian Noble up in the stands.
He'll be wondering, Bill, when on earth they're going to get an opportunity to get into the attacking red zone with ball in hand.
Well, Harrison Hansen working hard to try and get them there. In Samoa's initial World Cup squad. A real competition for places in that Samoan squad at the moment. Star-studded it is. Luluai. Took it on.
Good work there from Croker. You could see him coming in on the angle. That's forcing Wigan down the middle. Most of their players are one out at the moment.
And Mick Potter, well, he signalled out that Palliasini was going to be a danger ahead of this game. He was a threat there. Barrett, another hoisted kick. This time it's Pello, and Greenshields across to support him. Good work from the fullback there to shield Dimitri Pello.
Bill, I don't know that much about boxing, but I have heard sometimes that boxers just throw so many punches in the opening part of a fight that they've got nothing left. And at this stage, I think Catalan have had so much possession and actually look the more tired of the two teams. They're the ones struggling at present when you consider that all of the work that Wigan have had to do defensively. Wigan at the moment look the stronger side.
Well, Jerome Guisset trying to ignite them and gets the ball to Pello. Pello will take on Mathers, comes inside Mathers and gets round Mathers, and Dimitri Pello will go all the way for a wonderful try for the Catalan Dragons. A try that was worth waiting for. Almost 19 minutes on the clock, and when it comes, it's a belter from little Dimitri Pello, his 11th of the season, a try scorer in the playoff game against Warrington last week, and always a big game try scorer and a big game try scorer for the Dragons tonight.
Beautiful run from Guisset. You can see there that Calderwood had come in and out. What a try that is. That is sheer quality. Oh, if there's any women watching out there, this guy can dance. Can he ever finish it off as well? He completely mesmerized the fullback, Richie Mathers. But what about the pass from the substitute, Jerome Guisset? The break on that left-hand side, the short blind outfit, bang! Calderwood was caught cold. Pello took it away and did the shimmy. Did the dance and did the footwork. Boy, That was incredible.
And eerily, that try coming at virtually the same time as the first Catalan Dragons try against the Warrington Wolves last week, almost to the second. Now Thomas Bosch with this conversion attempt. A great season with the boot the Catalan number 6 has had. 114 successes so far. This one suits his kicking style, and it's on target. And the Dragons on the scoreboard, ahead by 6 points to 0.
Tremendous. They don't come much better than that. Didn't have time to just smile at Carmon and said, we're going to score. We may have struggled before, but the writing was on the wall in as much that they were eager to keep the ball alive. You mentioned last week, Bill, in regards against Warrington, they are doing the same tactics. They were working very hard in and around the play the ball ruck, making the opposition tackle. Are they looking tired, Wigan? I know you made the point that they've had all the possession and Wigan haven't had hardly any, Phil. When is it going to swing? It normally does, doesn't it?
Well, that depends on how the side with possession control it, whether they're able to keep that composure and keep the hold on the game that they have. I couldn't have been more wrong with my last comment, could I? That I thought Wigan, for about a 4 or 5 minute period, had their best spell in the game, but just that one break really, and you know, something had to give, didn't it? And here it is, the point, Steve-O. They've lost possession, they've lost their focus, and they've given away a penalty.
And Jérôme Guisset, I think it was, who speaks very good English. Well, he almost speaks English with a Warrington accent, in fact, Jérôme Guisset. And Steve Ganson understood perfectly what he said. It wasn't to the liking of the referee, and that gives Wigan, well, when are they going to get the opportunity? Now.
And that's the reason why they're not going to go for the 2 points. Normally, this guy would have just banged it over with ease. But they know they haven't had any opportunity up until this particular moment. Can the combination of Barrett and Luluai weave the magic?
Taking the wind out of the Catalan sails for the moment. And Wigan trying to respond immediately through Gareth Hock. A great try he scored in that playoff win over Bradford last week. Back in the side after suspension. Hock. Here is Barrett. Barrett finds Phil Bailey. Bailey manages to get the ball out the back door, back to Trent Barrett. Barrett out wide to Calderwood. Calderwood finds his route blocked by Pello, comes back in field. His route is still blocked by Jean-Philippe Bale. Here is Hansen once more. He's at that end of the ground. He scored his late try against the Catalan Dragons last month. Luluai. This time it's the Catalans' defence. Hock, great ball to Barrett. Oh, there's a Catalan hand in there. It was Murphy. It's 6 to go. It's 6 to go for Wigan, and it's Hock again. And Hock, that's a great pass to Carmont, and they're on the scoreboard. George Carmont with the instant response, and that penalty conceded by Jérôme Guisset, a costly one. Normally they would have gone for 2, as Steve-O said. They decided to go for the 4-pointer, and it came off for them in the end, and right in front of that little group of Wigan supporters. And George Carmont, who made the dream team this week, gets the try for Wigan.
Tremendous play by Gareth Hock, and good support play by the centre, George Carmont. Their first real opportunity. The ability of Gareth Hock to look at all times to offload. Okay, there are moments when he does something a little bit mad. Takes the opportunity to keep the ball alive when perhaps he should have settled it down, but not on this occasion. Gets the shimmy, has the upper body strength and the pass. Come on.
Pat Richards. To level the scores here. Like Thomas Bosch, he's been in great goal-kicking form this season. 105 successes so far with the boot from Richards. Oh, dear me. He thumped that one.
Put the bucker on him. Hock won't be too impressed. Carmont did everything right. Oh, that is amazing. The pass was too, wasn't it? You talk about earlier, Bill, in regards to Stuart Field and maybe looking towards a trip down under for the World Cup. I must say the last couple of weeks, Gareth Hock has found his form. He's the type of player that perhaps could be very influential indeed down under in Australia.
Fielden, well, that'll lift Wigan. They'd have liked to have seen that scoreboard level and would have thought they'd have seen it level with Pat Richards doing the goal kicking. But there's no subtlety about Pat Richards' goal kicking, is there? He doesn't dink the ball, he wellies it. And normally wellies it successfully.
Well, there's a lot of power in Pat Richards' game, not just his kicking. The problem I think that Wigan sometimes have when he plays on the wing is getting the ball to him. He is possibly, has been this season, their best player, but you need to get the ball in his hands in big games if you want him to come up and produce.
Barrett immediately closed down. They know the threat that Trent Barrett poses. He wants to sign off on a high note. Of course, leaving Wigan earlier than anticipated, and Wigan getting the penalty. So that's back-to-back penalties. Catalan have conceded. That'll do nicely for the Warriors.
Well, it's deemed that Croker has gone well above the shoulders. It will certainly please Brian Noble, because the first real opportunity will put points on the board. Trent Barrett, of course, will be looking to finish with a great flourish at the end of this year.
Here is Gareth Hock again, and Hock, I thought he got that ball away to Carmont once more. George Carmont has scored tries in 3 of the 4 games against the Catalan Dragons this season, and a worthy selection for that dream team. Luluai. Here is Fielden. Fielden just skated past the first challenge from Fakir, but still going on one leg. And he and Adam Mogg just having a little bit of a discussion there after the ball had gone. The pass out wide. Oh, and Calderwood did well there, because that one threatened to get away from him. They're trying to get him out of the field of play. But Wigan enjoying a good spell here. Those moments of indiscipline from the Catalan Dragons have given them good field position. Look at Palliasina there, just inching his way forward like a steamroller. Barrett now. Barrett again, Hock. Barrett and Hock are really trying to run rings around this Catalan defence, and Hock went for the offload there. It was an ambitious one.
Well, it was an amazing offload, wasn't it? I mean, he sort of flicked it between his legs. He's certainly an opportunist, that is for sure. We're just back to basics now for the Catalan side. Mick Potter knows that this Wigan outfit are capable of scoring the tries. Oh, it's great effort.
This is Sebastian Ragan again.
Oh, it's got to be
breaking the first line. It is a penalty. And Cameron Phelps, I think, and Phelps has said something. And Steve Ganson is not going to stand any nonsense tonight. So that's the second time that back chat has been penalised.
And it could prove very costly indeed. Intense moments. You've got to make sure that you're thinking throughout the entire game.
And somebody thinking there in the Wigan ranks, because that second ball was, just as they were about to tap it, was thrown straight back towards the Catalan Dragons. Onto the field and into the action is Remy Casti there. And Casti plays the ball. Maguire, they go out wide with Ragan. Oh, and Ragan was coming back in field and just lost his footing there. Luluai was floundering. Bosque. Here is Jerome Guisset up against his former club. Guisset still going, Jerome Guisset. And they managed to drag him back. It was Mathers who salvaged the situation. Jamil Fakir plays the ball. Thomas Bosque. They've gone with the heavyweights, and now it's with the lightweight, Clint Greenshields. That's the 5th tackle. Wigan defending well here. Maguire, they're running it. They've got it to Wilson, and Wilson couldn't take the pass.
Now with a knock on, they'll put it down on the 10. This will be head and feed to Wigan.
Oh, if he could have found Croker there.
Well, it was a poor position by Pat Richards. He'd gone right through, hesitated, maybe was going for the intercept, but they had the overlap.
You know, Catalan have thrown so many punches in this game, but they're failing to land with a lot of them, aren't they? I mean, early on the second play from that tap, it was that you thought they had an opportunity to score. The number of chances they've had to get over Wigan's line is probably tenfold to Wigan, and yet still they only have a 2-point lead. And that, I think, does create a little bit of doubt and worry amongst the home team at present.
Here's Harrison Hansen.
Wigan have got to find a way out of trying to get over the advantage line at the halfway, so that when it comes to the last kick, they've got a good kick and chase, apply the pressure.
That's a way out. Paliasina on the charge. Now Fielden, and Gisay came hurtling in to make the tackle. Almost missed him. Pressure is the shout. And pressure is what Trent Barrett feels, but still gets a good kick away. And Greenshields. That could have been embarrassing for the fullback. And Dimitri Pello, scorer of Catalan's try on 19 minutes, Sebastian Ragan. Wants to lose, Ragan plays the ball. Jamil Fakir.
Well, the French side don't like the attitude of the official team.
An offload from Fakir. Murphy now. He'll be in the French World Cup squad. Going to Australia, Jean Money, the French coach, is here tonight. Oh, Croker almost went without.
Well, Croker thought he was going to be the dummy runner there, hoping that the ball went behind him.
Oof, a little bit of untidiness from this Catalan side at the moment, and the kick not the best, and Mathers does well, tunnels under the first few tacklers.
I just get the impression that the Catalans are running out of ideas. They've tried everything, the inside ball, they're making the half break, they can't consolidate, and on the last two occasions it's on a silly pass and not the best kick and chase either.
Mott could have been penalised there. He could have been penalised the play before as well. Was late on the scene. And now they're going to give it some air. They're going to go wide to Calderwood, and Pello just got hold of Calderwood, but they've both let him slip. And Calderwood up to the 40-metre line.
Amazing thing about Mark Calderwood, he always seems to leave his best rugby league football when it comes to the playoffs.
Well, they're on the charge now with Tompkins. And they've got numbers here. It's Barrett, and Barrett will put Wigan into the lead. And they've come from one end of the field to the other with a wonderful try. And Trent Barrett wants to sign off on a high note, and the Wigan fans stand and applaud a magnificent try from their side. And they have fought their way back into this game.
Unbelievable position as well. Great support play. And you have to look at the fact this is only the second occasion that they've been in such a good position. They kept their cool. As soon as the defence came across on the inside, Barrett said, we've got it there. And it really is the sucker punch. Tremendous stuff. Beautiful play there. Got to give it up. Joel Tompkins, the way that he just held the ball at the very last moment. Great stuff.
His first try since June the 22nd for Trent Barrett in the draw at Castleford. What a time to come up with another one. And great work from Cameron Phelps in the setup. Now then, Richards looking to extend a lead that few thought Wigan would have after the pummeling they took early doors here. This time he's bang on target, no doubt about that one. And the Wigan supporters salute this try.
Phelps kept his cool, didn't he? Combination there. Beautiful stuff. You've got to admire the way that they've done it. They've got back in numbers. It looked as though they were going to be stretched on so many occasions, so many breaks against them.
Wigan are only in this position because for the last 3 weeks, the defence has been awesome. They managed to keep their opponents to less than 20 points for the last 2 games, and despite a series of crippling body blows that were thrown at them in the opening 15 minutes, they maintained the line intact. They conceded only 1 try, and now they're starting to show a bit of width, a bit of control, and just as Harlequins defeated Catalan at the end of the regular season, by playing with width and some accurate passing, you can trouble the Dragons.
But the Dragons have got the ball back. Hocker's let it slip, and Maguire will get there. I thought Mathers was going to catch him. He was just coasting in. Casey Maguire. Mathers almost got there, but he's going to go to the video ref, is Steve Ganson. They want to know how that ball came loose. Hock lost it. How did he lose it? Well, Catalans are celebrating, but they might be a bit premature here, you know.
Well, it certainly was a big hit from Hock.
Yeah, he just lost the ball.
Just lost the ball. It was a big hit. But I'm with you. Maguire, he's just celebrating, perhaps didn't realise that Mathers was so close. Was that a high shot? Hock is certainly dazed. They've got to make a big decision here.
Phil Bentham is the video referee.
Oh, that's a
was
high
it?
shot.
Was it? It's Remy Casti, I think.
Well, he didn't miss him, Casti. I must say that. I think this try will be turned down and a penalty to Wigan. It looked high.
Steve Ganson waiting for the decision. And still having communication problems by the look of things. He's summoned onto the field Thierry Alibert, who of course is a French referee who's spent the last 6 months
well, it was a high shot,
working in the Super League competition, and I think because of the communication problems he's using Thierry Alibert as an intermediary. The player's wondering what's going on.
This is a bad shot.
You know, that's the worst angle, isn't it? When we saw it from the other angle, it didn't seem like a high tackle, but he must have caught Hock, who stayed down.
He's a tough hombre.
Well, I tell you what, Steve Ganson hasn't been shy about using his red card this season, and he's now going to the other side of the field to consult with one of the French TV people.
Well, I think he's made contact. The forearm may have hit the shoulder, but there's contact into the face with Hock. He's got to make a decision. Was the impact enough? It's high, I think.
I think they've already
It's
made
high,
the decision. It's
yeah.
communicating that message to the referee on the field. That's the problem we've got at the moment.
No try, and it will be a penalty to Wigan. That's my suggestion.
Well, he holds the record already, Steve Ganson, for a video ref decision, and he might earn another one tonight, although this time it won't be his fault. I have to say that. And he's got that one right, or rather Phil Bentham in the VT truck has got that one right.
And in such a tense match as this, Bill, it is good to see that no one panicked. Ganson was running and talking to more people than you could throw a stick at, but they've come up with the right decision.
And it's a decision that means not only do Wigan earn the penalty, but they are already deep in Catalan territory, and Palliasina takes them deeper still. They lead by 10 points to 6 to the Wigan Warriors, taking a battering early on here, but they are coming strong at the end of this first half, and they've got another try through Richie Mathers. They survive a scare at one end, and Mathers celebrates a try for Wigan Warriors. 3 tries in quick succession. Carmont, Barrett, and now Mathers. His first try since round 1. And what a time to come up with it.
Run out of numbers. Thomas Bosch got caught short. He did the right thing, did Mathers. Let's not forget that it was Mathers that took a heavy knock early in this game. And Thomas Bosch has been caught out there. Beautiful link on the arc, and not surprisingly, the travelling fans from Wigan, they are in ecstasy. It was so quiet when Mathers kept going through there. The fans tried their damnedest to raise the spirits, but 2 sucker punches. Barrett followed by Mathers, and this is going to be a big job for Mick Potter to lift his French outfit. Psychologically, those 2 blows have really taken it out of them.
So Pat Richards with 106 goal-kicking successes this season. This to increase the Wigan advantage. Richie Mathers, a long time between tries that. And Richards, the crowd really breathing down his neck, and he's pushed that one wide of the target, but that scoreline takes some believing, Phil, given the hammering that Wigan had taken.
Well, Catalan dramatically and immediately need to improve their left side defence. They can score some points, I've no doubt, but they won't score that many because Wigan's defence tonight will be strong. They're not going to rack up the 45 points that they did here in June. So the Catalans have been exposed twice already on the far side of the field from the commentary box at the moment, and the left side defence will be further targeted as the game rolls on.
Well, the Wigan supporters, there's not many of them, but they are very noisy, and they've got a lot to be noisy about now. It's been a struggle for them to get out here. All the flights booked, and
you've got to admire the composure that Wigan have shown. They were really and truly on the rack. The first 15 minutes, Catalans threw everything at them. They've got the ball away again, and Hopkins is having a little bit of a dust-up in back play.
Wigan have won just one in the last 4 visits here. That was 18-16 at the start of last season. But this is the one that they really want. The one that will take them through to that playoff showdown at Headingley next weekend. And they get the penalty that the crowd is screaming for.
Well, silly play. Brian Noel would be very, very upset with that. He was put under a lot of pressure, Trent Barrett. He just checking with the official.
He's a seasoned campaigner, Trent Barrett. Another few seconds, tick off the clock there.
Of course, yeah, but I mean, it's just silly play to put themselves in a good position. Well, Carroll just got a little bit excited.
Well, they try and control every play of the ball, Steve. Occasionally they're going to get it wrong, but on the majority of occasions they've come up well. Here goes Carroll.
Oh, he had Mogg on his shoulder, but he was just tumbling to the ground there.
Short blind side, they're very short. They've gone open.
They've gone to the open side with Guisset. Just a couple of minutes left in this first half. Of course, we had that long delay while the referee had his sound problems. Mogg drifting back across the field of play. They do go over to that left-hand side, and great defence from Wigan, but the ball is out to Pello, and Pello will get his second try of the night. And this time it was Wigan who ran out of numbers. Ragan it was who dragged in the defenders. And Dimitri Pello, like he did against Warrington last week on that wing, just ambled in for a try.
Not done. They kept the ball alive, and they were given the award. Beautiful stuff. I'm impressed with this fella, Sebastian Ragan. You can see that Calderwood was in no man's land yet again. Nowhere to go there for Adam Mogg, but he knew that he had the opportunity out there out wide, and Ragan said, take this into the corner, it's game on. What a pressure kick this will be. Nice finish.
Tell you what, it was a great pass from Jamil Fakir as well, the second rower, who was involved in that. Very quick hands from him.
They've shown great talent throughout this year, and they needed something pretty special there, because they were on the rack whilst they were kicking the goal, or attempting to kick the goal, should I say. The heads were down. I mentioned the fact, Bill, you know, that Mick Potter, to get the message out, he's got to lift their spirits. Can't get it any better than that. Pello trying the corner. Can he convert?
Dimitri Pello's 5th try in the last 3 games. He's saving some good form for this end of season bonanza, as Bosk looks to land that one as well. I think he's pushed it wide. He has, across the face of the posts. It's Catalan 10, Wigan Warriors 14 as we approach half-time here.
He took it well, and he knew that there was an opportunity there. Calderwood had to come in. He got confused.
Well, the biggest difference between Catalan this week and last week is that they haven't been able to find that speed of the play of the ball. They dominated around the ruck area against Warrington, and that fast play of the ball made them look awesome as they powered down the middle of the field. Wigan's control has been tighter around the ruck, and it's kept them in the game and helped them with a 4-point lead.
Richards with that restart. That's a tricky one. That was spiralling and swerving in the air as the hooter sounds, and Bringston in the end an enthralling first 40 minutes here, and sets us up for an equally enthralling 40 minutes to come. Wigan in the lead here in Perpignan by 14 points to 10.
Yes, they are in the lead, but only just. What a fantastic match is taking place in Perpignan, and Catalan Dragons playing their full part in it, of course. But how about this from Trent Barrett? Sheer class, and Wigan are ahead, but only just at half-time. Well, there's more live action right now on Sky Sports Golf. The 2008 Ryder Cup is continuing over on Sky Sports 1 and HD1. That will run right the way through to midnight and maybe beyond this evening. Ryder Cup 2008. And if you were with us with the Super League playoff last night, suggested that maybe you'd stick with us and then switch over to the golf. If you did that last night, you weren't disappointed. I venture to suggest you won't be disappointed tonight either, because look at that scoreline from Perpignan. Catalan Dragons 10, Wigan Warriors 14. A fantastic first half. Let's have a look at it. Barry McDermott is here in the studio. Here are the highlights, and plenty of highlights, Barry.
Jerome Guisset for the opening try. Cuts a great line back up the guts. He gives a beautiful offload to Pello, who wrong foots Mathers, getting the Catalan side off to a flying start. There was 20 minutes or so of good kicks, but Gareth Hock, this play is all about Gareth Hock. He's got great speed, great footwork, and he runs with aggression. He's not frightened to offload. He's what we call a compulsive offloader. Throws it in any condition, and that's, you know, we've seen him come up with a couple of errors, but Wigan on the next try, Trent Barrett, who's had an inspired display, really means this for his side, and he's been just as committed to this team, just as committed to this match as anybody. This was the turning point of the half. Casti absolutely cleans Gareth Hock's clocks here. He whacks him, dislodging the ball. Maguire picks the ball up, does the right thing, and does what he thinks is best. He goes to score the try, but that try was disallowed. Wigan reacted the best, and Mathers, from a glorious ball from Trent Barrett, scores the try just before half-time. Beautiful hands here from Ragan first, then Fakir puts Pello in for his second try, and Catalan, they've not come to lie down. The crowd won't let them lie down. There's so much passion in that ground today.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you listen to the crowd, they're on the back of the referee, they're on the back of Wigan every time they are in the tackle. They believe they should be getting a penalty every time. It's an intimidating place to go, but can Wigan hang on, or will Catalan make history and become the side that is just 80 minutes away from Old Trafford?
I think it's still in the balance, Eddie, I really do, but the crowd, you can't underestimate it. Perhaps we're not getting it from the pictures, but once or twice there's been decisions go Catalan's way that I don't think were the right decisions. I think purely and simply because the crowd are making it hard for the referees who've had problems with the communication systems. I hope that gets sorted out, but it does make things difficult, and you're having to read situations a little bit more on instinct rather than from the coordination of everybody, the touch judges, the linesmen, and everybody.
Fascinating first half, wasn't it, at the Stade Gilbert Brutus? And, well, Wigan know they are in a battle. Catalan Dragons, they swept Warrington aside last week. Can they capitalise on this now in the second half? This try right on the stroke of half-time. Fantastic time psychologically to score. We'll see what happens second half.
It matters more when there's money on it.
Well, this is the scene in the south of France, in Perpignan, and Catalan Dragons 10, Wigan Warriors 14 was the half-time score, and by the looks of things, just about ready for the start of the second half. Thomas Bosk, one of the key figures for the Catalan Dragons, and Thomas Luluai likewise for the Wigan Warriors. Let's get back to Steve-O, Phil and Bill.
So far in the playoffs this year, no side has come back from a half-time deficit. Can the Catalan Dragons here do that, or can Wigan Warriors keep them at bay? Interesting to read ahead of this game that Thomas Bosk, as a youngster, was a Wigan follower, even had a Wigan Warriors shirt as a young man. And Sebastian Ragan had a Wigan Warriors flag on his bedroom wall. But they're looking to bring down the colours of the Wigan Warriors tonight here at the Stade Gilbert Brutus, and the Warriors ahead 14-10 at the break. Shown great resilience here tonight, as you'd expect from a side coached by Brian Noble, the man with the finest record in the playoffs, the only man to win 3 Super League Grand Finals, and he's looking to get this side to the next round of the playoffs. It's a good kick that puts Greenshields under pressure, a good chase.
Pretty lucky that Greenshields got the luck of the bounce there. Even a fine game is Trent Barrett, not just with ball in hand, but his kicking game tonight has been superb. Interesting to see whether Mick Potter has told his charges to try to throw everything at Wigan, as they did in the opening 15 in that first half. Couldn't get through, took them a while to score their first try.
It's a crucial part of this playoff game, whether Wigan can endure another fiery start from the Dragons, or whether the Dragons can turn it on again. Jean-Philippe Bale, this young man who came from rugby union in Toulouse and has made such an impression here at Perpignan, keeping that ball alive. And then it's John Wilson. He'll be a member of the French World Cup squad. He becomes eligible at the end of this season, having been here for 3 years. Greenshields puts the kick in, and well done by Barrett. He got a foot to that and then was quickly onto the rebound.
Well, again, the tactic of putting boot to ball, it was so effective against Warrington last week, especially down the short blind side. And I'm not so sure Mick Potter was pleased with that one. It produced 3 tries last week.
Thomas Luluai with a lively run. Now here's Cameron Phelps. Helped create that Trent Barrett try in the first half. Wigan on the halfway line. Certainly the crowd subdued. They were in rousing mood before the game and in the early period of the game, but they sense now that Brian Noble's side are a real threat here. Big hit on Tim Smith, but it's a good kick from Smith, and Barrett with the boot on, and Carmont's chasing it. And Richards gets there. Now then, a video ref decision.
I think this will be given.
I do. Catalan lost the ball. Wigan reacted smartly. The boot on is just a question of whether they were onside. It was Richards who got there in the end. Carmont, I think, hoped it was his. Richards beat him to it.
No problem with the downward pressure. Maguire tried his best to prevent it. This is try time.
Absolutely no doubt about that. I'm sure it's earlier on in the play that they're concerned about. There's the kick. It was Tim Smith with the kick.
Carlo tries to go down. Barrett gets a boot to it first. They've got to find out whether he's onside. It was pretty close, wasn't it? That's okay. This is try time.
Catalan have had a try disallowed.
So you can hear me.
Locals feel harshly. This is what they're looking at. Was Barrett onside? He's not.
He's just in front, just by half a metre, I would say.
Well, we've been watching the silence of the Dragons for the last minute here, as these replays are shown. But I agree with you two that Trent Barrett did appear to be in front of Tim Smith as it kicked in. There's little doubt about that. Therefore, he's in an offside position. This will be a penalty to the Dragons. And a massive relief for, I think, the supporters within the ground here. They thought the chances and hopes were drifting away tonight.
Well, it's very clear that he was offside.
Yeah, communications are obviously restored between Mr. Bentham and Mr. Ganson, and the decision goes in favour of the Catalan Dragons.
Well, they're getting it right, Bill, and that's the most important factor.
Barrett only just offside.
He was pretty quick off the mark, though, wasn't he? Got there, he got to kick through.
What we've seen in the last minute or two is some ad-lib football from both sides. When the Dragons on their last tackle tried to kick it through and it got trapped by Barrett's legs. Both are prepared to try the unpredictable to unlock the early defence.
Carlaw reversing into that Wigan defence. So, from nearly conceding a try at the other end of the ground, the Catalan Dragons are on the attack.
Trying to kid the defence there. Mogg was trying to look one way and just offloaded.
Oh, interception! And Carmont has it. They were offside. They had to be offside.
Well, it certainly looked that way. He took one step at the dummy half position, so Smith was deemed to...
And referee Ganson telling Tim Smith that he has been told umpteen times.
I think he's still playing under Australian rules in where the player doesn't have to be behind the try line.
Gise went close. Here's Mogg. Mogg pops the ball up to Jamil Fakir. Good defence from Wigan again. 2 tackles gone. They're using the heavyweights at the moment. It's Carlo once more.
And they're trying that flat pass. That's a third on the trot.
Now here's Mogg. Mogg, Bosk, Wilson. Wilson gets the ball away, but he's picked up by Richards. And Richards will go all the way. Across comes Pello. Can he make the tackle? He won't. He won't. They will get the try this time. Pat Richards dots the ball down. I'm sure he'll go to the video ref. He's consulting. The try is awarded. And what a breakout that is. Wilson's pass behind Greenshields, and Richards was there.
Sheer desperation by the centre. John Wilson, he didn't need to do that. The French outfit was in a very good position, and they should have opted to just go to ground here and then maybe try to put the boot through. Greenshields couldn't do anything about this. It's sheer panic. Sheer panic, and they have paid the price. A few seconds ago, Richards, he was in no try. No doubt about it on this occasion. And that could be just the fillip that the Warriors needed.
Well, I've often said that you can attack your opponents when you don't have the ball, and George Carman's tackle there was a perfect example of that. He put his opponent under pressure, and perhaps the tension from missed opportunities in the first half became the reason why the Dragons tried to score on that play. And I said that Pat Richards had to get the ball in his hands. Well, we'll see what he can do when it happens.
And he likes doing it here as well. He got 2 tries on the last time Wigan were here, and that 16-all draw. Those, in fact, were his last tries. So he's back on target with that one, courtesy of some shoddy handling by the Catalan Dragons. Wigan not complaining. It's an opportunity to extend the lead, which Richards can do now with this conversion attempt. Thumps it between those posts. It's looking good for the Wigan Warriors. They're ahead by 20 points to 10 here. Forward march.
I can't believe it. Mick Potter will be saying, why on earth did you try to force the pass? Good position. A lot of people think this guy hasn't got much speed. But once he made the break, Pello came across from the left wing. There was never going to be anybody to stop that.
Well, Wigan's finished 6th last year and got to within 18 minutes of Old Trafford. Leeds, it was who downed them. Are they going to have an opportunity to avenge that next Friday? It's looking good for that at the moment.
But they're looking confident as well. And when you scored a try at 5 minutes just after the restart, it's just a matter of getting themselves in a good field position now. You get the impression that Thomas Luluai is taking charge of the dummy half. He's got the big forwards to take them through.
As we said at the start of the second half, no side has managed so far in this year's playoff series to come back from a deficit at half-time. And the deficit has grown bigger for the Catalan Dragons. They've got to pull something out of the box now. Calls for a high shot. And those calls are answered. Andy Coley looks at... What? He says? Could have been a Frenchman there.
Well, the forearm finishes right underneath the chin. Little doubt about it. Not the swinging arm, more of the grapple tackle in the end.
More of a guillotine.
Well, we spoke about the French Revolution earlier on. Justin Murphy has painful memories of playing against Wigan. It was he that went right over the barriers at the JJB Stadium when Catalan were losing there a couple of seasons ago. He was out for 6 games after that one, actually.
Big hit from Palliacina.
Mogg.
He's coming more into the game as well as Adam Mogg.
He needs to.
Taking the responsibility from Thomas Bosk.
Bosk has lost that one, a knock-on, and that's the sort of mistake you just cannot afford when your side is trailing like this.
Good hit from Bailey. And they're not going through sets of 6, and came across. Bosk just left it behind him. I haven't seen the twinkle toes from Clint Greenshields as yet. Mainly due to the fact that Wigan's defence has been pretty solid throughout. But those errors will be a problem for Mick Potter, Catalan's coach.
Long, long way to go in this game yet. But Wigan will be growing in confidence. They've had a patchy season, of course, winning only 13 of 27 games, but have they come good at the right time? That real morale-boosting performance at St Helens, and then the victory over Bradford, despite all the turmoil that has at occasions afflicted the club. They're getting it right at just the right time. Lulawai is captured there. Nowhere for him to go. And then Barrett hoists the kick. It's a deep one. It's a good one. Murphy underneath it. Didn't say he took that one convincingly, but he's got Pello on his shoulder. And Pello gets away from the first challenge and the second challenge. And then his fellow winger, Mark Calderwood, brings him down. That's lifted the crowd. And then Clint Greenshields.
They're getting back into the swing of things now. Quick play the ball. Wigan are desperate to try to just slow things down.
And that's what Wigan were hoping to deny. And Fakir was looking for somebody on his shoulder there. Gets the penalty. Tompkins desperate to slow them down.
Well spotted by the official. Beautiful run though by the big fella, Jamal Fakir.
Jamal who?
Fakir.
And here comes another of the big fellas. Alex Chan, his place to be taken by Jason Riles next season. Chan hoping to sign out on a high note. Maguire to Elima. They're doing what they did at the start, and they're doing it through Olivier Elima, but did he get that ball down? He reckons so. The former Wakefield man who's returned to the south of France, who's returned to form at just the right time. But did he ground this ball?
Not to see from the head-on shot through the dummy. Mothers tried desperately, spinning him around. That's right.
He's got that down.
That is no problems whatsoever. Olivier Elima has put the Catalan side back into this game. Not the best hit from Fielden. Upper body strength.
And the try is awarded to Olivier Elima. And it's virtually bang in front of the post, so Thomas Bosch surely will add another two.
Well, the Dragons needed to speed the game up. They did that around the ruck. They were given a penalty, and then one of the players said, listen, I've got to find the inspiration. The crowd have gone silent. My team have gone flat. With the 6 points on the scoreboard, let's see if we can get back to where we started this game.
It's all about taking your opportunities, and the big fella certainly did that. Not the best attempt from the prop forward, Stuart Fielden. Elima just brushed him away.
And Bosch bang in front of the posts. 2 more points. It's Catalan 16, Wigan Warriors 20.
Sheer power, that's all it is. And once you get out of the half-hearted tackle, pretty hard to stop.
Bernard Gosch, the Catalan chairman, in the centre of your shot there. He looks a bit anxious, doesn't he? Well, he'll be delighted at the attendance here tonight. 9,985, a record attendance on this Gilbert Brutus ground. And they are finding their voice again. They went a bit quiet when Wigan hit them at the start of this second half. And here is Elima, and on the charge again. Oh, he's lost the ball.
Play on.
Rush of blood to the head from Olivier Elima. Just scored a try. The only bigger try he scored really came against Wigan in the first ever game for the Catalan Dragons. But it's already that error put Catalan on the back foot.
Well, that's a real bonus for the Wigan Warriors.
Did Gareth Hock pull it out, Steve-O?
I think he did, but it was one-on-one.
It's gone. Wigan have the ball back, and that Catalan passion has quickly subsided. Because Tim Smith is setting up Gareth Hock, is he? Hock is just stopped. It was Jean-Philippe Bale who made the tackle. It needed to be a good one. Carmont. Smith puts the kick in, and Pello was there. He saw that one coming from a long way away. Beats Calderwood. He's a slippery customer, is the new Caledonian, Dimitri Pello. Was he tackled? He wasn't. He carries on. Eventually he's brought down.
Ooh, that was a big gamble. Looked to me as though the ball carrying arm had hit the deck. Got away with it. Wasn't the big kick, best kick from Smith.
Chan tries to get to his feet to play the ball. They're looking to try and maintain the momentum. That ball came squirting out from Carlo, and Mogg has picked it up. And Mogg just gets away from the first tackler. There's a Wigan hand in there. It'll be back to 6, will it? It is. Croker has it.
They're struggling to get their defensive line sorted out, Wigan.
Here is Greenshields. Well, Catalan was struggling to get their attack sorted out. They have now. Oh, they have now, because it's with Wilson. And Wilson is through a gap. Wilson has got some support. And Wilson gets the ball to Murphy. And Murphy gets the try for the Catalan Dragons. And the locals celebrate. And Catalan are back on a roll. They've scored back-to-back tries. Justin Murphy, 4 tries last week, on target this time.
And again, they've kept the ball alive. Beautiful stuff. Wilson knew exactly what was happening, and so did this fella. 4 tries last week. Wilson went straight the way through. Look how it positions itself there. Richards just couldn't get the arm across to prevent the pass. It's the shimmy here, back on the inside. What a fend. And what a pass and what a finish. It's game on here. Conversion to come.
And you're starting to wonder whether the pounding that Wigan took in the first 15 minutes is starting to take its toll. They've missed 1 or 2 relatively easy tackles, and in the last month of play, there are tackles that they are making with consummate ease and completing and controlling. All the momentum now behind the Dragons, and this is when you need experienced players. Wigan need the voices, the right voices talking behind the post. You need to be thinking positively, sucking the air back in to get your breath, but then going hard here and getting back to the things, the control and defence that they had.
Well, there's playoff experience aplenty lined up behind the post for the Wigan Warriors as Bosk goes for 2 more points, has failed with it. The scores are level, 20 points apiece here at the Stade Gilbert Brutus. This is building up. Well, I think it's already a playoff classic. It's got the potential for even more drama.
Certainly has, and to my knowledge, we have not had a draw. We have not gone to extra time, and therefore we've not experienced the golden point. Could we have history made here tonight? The tension is building. Listen to this crowd.
Phil Clark, in fact, predicted extra time before proceedings started, I think. The restart from Wigan then. And Catalan looked a bit out of sorts. Murphy. They looked out of sorts, but they're back on the boil now. Justin Murphy is a real local hero. This season, despite his try-scoring exploits, he hasn't laid claim to a regular first-team place. But just the last couple of weeks, he's a hero.
If you look at what Wigan have done in the last couple of tackles, they've actually had 3 men involved. That's giving them some control, slowing down the Dragons a little bit, that fraction longer, so they can get a defensive line set.
Maguire, an early pass. Murphy with the kick, it's not the best, and Mathers gobbles the ball up, and the volume just suddenly subsides from the Catalan supporters.
Well, the one thing about the Catalan side, they will persist with that short blind kick down into the corner. It wasn't the best. The long ball out there to Murphy. So important now that Wigan just calm down, settle them. Thomas Luluai is administrating the football. And this is where the likes of Trent Barrett, his experience, has to come to the fore.
Never mind the pre-match sound system. This one goes up to 11. Barrett flings the pass out. Tompkins has gone without it. It wasn't a knock-on, says the referee, but it is the 5th tackle. And Barrett kicks up the touchline, and that's a sensible option. Phew, he says, just let's catch our breath here.
Calming things down. A little bit furious there. He's running around trying to talk to his players. And a bit of a chat with Phil Bailey. Now they've got to be very careful that the French outfit don't put a move on from the scrum base.
Wigan have actually substituted Thomas Luluai. The 4th official won't allow it to happen at a scrum, so Luluai's had to get up back off the bench and go back and join this scrum.
Brian Noble eager to get Mickey Hyam out there. He knows he's a match winner. That is for sure.
Carlo standing away from the scrum, takes that first hit up for the Catalan Dragons.
Will they go wide quickly?
Jean-Philippe Bale, and Bale gets it to Murphy. Oh, and Murphy's dropped that ball. Do Catalan have it back? No. Wigan have it. Carmont is in possession and clinging onto it for dear life.
Well, I think the pressure's getting to these players.
What's at stake here?
Big hit there. Elima, come to daddy.
Could have been penalised for that hit on Richards. Fielden gets away from the first. Good work from Stuart Fielden. And Fielden lashes out there at Croker. Didn't like the treatment he got. He's still going after Croker. Coley, good run from him. Mickey Hyam is on the field. Tim Smith now. Barrett. Barrett delays the pass. Bailey. Cameron Phelps. Phelps, good offload to Mathers. Mathers keeps it alive to Barrett. Barrett trying to put the step on. Eventually he's collared. It was Mogg with the tackle. Will they go for 1 point already? Surely not. Hyam. Hawk gets the ball out wide to Carmont, and they're in the corner for Richards. He gets his second try. What great work from the Wigan Warriors. They kept their cool there. And the crowd again subsides. Arms are folded down below us, they think.
Oh, that's tremendous play by Wigan. They took the risk and the gamble put on Mickey Hyam. You could see that they were just a little bit lazy on that blind side. It was sufficient enough to make them hesitate, and that was the difference. Maguire had come in, and they made a real meal of it. Murphy was nowhere to be seen there. The officials just have a little word with the two guys having a bit of a fracas. But I must say, Murphy was caught out there, and the final pass to Richards, calm, cool and collected, just plonked it down. He knows how important this one is.
Yeah, Steve Ganson just taking time to tell Jason Croker and Stuart Fielden to cool it. It's very difficult to cool it in this atmosphere. The players doing a very good job to keep their cool.
Both sides look physically exhausted to me, and it's really now a battle of mental toughness. Which side can keep their concentration and focus here now whilst fatigue sets in?
Do you think Leeds will be rubbing their hands and saying, come on, lads?
I'm not so sure they'll be rubbing anything, because this has been a real battle. But it all came about, remember, by the mistake from Murphy. They had the possession of the French outfit. This could be the killer blow.
Alex Chan looks drained as Richards looks to add 2 more. Oh, what a kick, what a conversion from Pat Richards. Jubilation from the small army of Wigan supporters as their side goes 26-20 ahead.
Tremendous build-up. We're all perhaps thinking that they might just be looking for the 1-pointer. It is pretty early. The Wigan fans, they are happy. But it's an amazing thing, Bill, is that when Wigan scored, there's hardly any atmosphere here at all.
I'd just like to disassociate myself and Phil Clark from that remark. We weren't expecting a 1-pointer.
You might do from now on, though, Bill, if Wigan do get to that part of the field. Catalan's problem, as Steve was pointing out, they lost possession twice. Simple loose carries are a penalty here now against Catalan Dragons. Mr. Ganton isn't very popular with the home support.
It was Alex Chan who was penalised. Oh, and Phil Bailey's thrown that ball right over the other side of the field while you're watching the replay, and that means it's got to come all the way back.
Ooh, lucky to get away with that was Fielden, I feel.
The referee's looking, there's not a big screen here.
Richards won't mind. Now Brian Noble realises that the man that's just got the ball in hand now, Mickey Hyam, will just start feeding it away from the play of the ball area. Calm, cool and collected, that's all you need. Good work from the forwards, and that is very good from Fielden.
Wigan's last win against the Catalan Dragons was that 30-0 win in June last year. This is the big one, though. This is the big prize, the final eliminator at Leeds. Keeping the dream alive here, very much alive, and another penalty goes Wigan's way.
This will be 2 points. I'll be very surprised if they kick into the corner, the Warriors now, and I think that Barrett has already pointed to the sticks. And the kicking tee will be brought up. It was definitely pulled out. Limo was a hero earlier, has now become the villain of the piece.
Well, how sweet would this be for Wigan if they do hang on here? There's still a quarter of the game to go, but they've suffered at the hands of the Catalan Dragons. Only a short Catalan history, but they've had a couple of momentous wins against Wigan. That first ever Super League game in February 2006, and Wigan were the victims. That's cup semi-final last year. Wigan were the victims then. Tonight, will the Catalan Dragons suffer for that? The Wigan faithful who are here hope so. And Pat Richards can put another nail in the Catalan coffin with this long-range penalty. It's bang on target.
Tremendous kick.
Quick restart here from the Dragons. They did this against Huddersfield and it came good for them. Bosk has the ball set. It's whether the referee will let him kick it. He's not. He's waiting for the touch judge, who's taking an age to get back into position.
A very leisurely return to his position, you have to say. And the restart maybe not quite as dramatic that Catalan were hoping for after all that.
You talk about having a sound foundation before you can build anything. And when you have a cool character like Pat Richards out there on the park, he just lifts the other players. Just give me the ball, don't worry, I'll kick it over the sticks. You've often said, Phil, throughout the season, it's so important to have a very good goal kicker, isn't it?
Well, Pat Richards has got all 14 points for Wigan in this second half. 2 tries and 3 goals. He's important.
Well, here's a big important decision.
He's deemed that he's lost it. Well, the tension rises. Mistakes are plenty. Little doubt that Joel Tompkins had no control of it. He leads to the official.
Alex Chan sort of stood there, just tried to be invisible. Green shields. Oh, the Wigan defence almost invisible there. They got back to make the tackle on Clint Greenshields. Mogg, again they're going on the short side, but this time they're alert to it, and Calderwood stops, so Ragan's progress. Jamil Fakir, the big guy going for the line, he's lost the ball. He went for that. It was all or nothing. Oh, and then somebody has said something. And he said something else, Casey Maguire. Steve Granson a bit crotchety tonight.
Well, they're paying the price bill of trying to score virtually on every opportunity instead of just pulling in the defence. They've been so effective. Was it ripped out?
He's complaining that Fielden
certainly had a finger into it. But it's no good shouting now. And there's Mr. Cool, calm and collected. Richards on his back. Let's just take it steady, boys. He's been outstanding this second half.
I think that descent's a real problem for Catalan. You never saw Bjorn Borg or Roger Federer ever question the decision. You never knew what they were thinking. They had total control of their emotions and wouldn't let their opponents know, even if they were under pressure and struggling. But the Dragons there now, by that 2 penalties there back-to-back, have just shown Wigan a chink of weakness.
Probably a few McEnroes on the Catalan side then, Phil, as far as that is concerned. But Mick Potter will be very upset with it.
Oh, he could be even more upset now because Tompkins has cut a great swathe through that Catalan defence. The Dragon supporters cheer the tackle, but they might not be cheering for long here. Barrett floats the pass out superbly. Bailey has Calderwood outside him, but wanted it himself. And then in the end, Barrett is in support. Oh, yes. Second try of the night for Barrett, and what a belter that was. Not only have we seen a playoff classic here tonight, we have seen some of the tries of the season, and Trent Barrett has got a couple of them. He wanted to bow out on a high note. They will not get much higher than this. Only higher at Old Trafford, surely.
If you take the gamble and try to go for the intercept, you're always going to leave your defence in all sorts of trouble. Bailey's inside pass to Barrett. He set it all up. I thought he'd taken the wrong option. You could see there that they'd moved in. Pello had left an opening out wide. The option perhaps was wrong to start with. Certainly wasn't from Barrett. Back on the inside, and Barrett surely must seal it now. raises his arm at that far end to virtually complete silence.
And to complete maybe the job for Wigan Warriors. Still a long way to go here. But that has stunned the crowd. And again, one end they were close to scoring. Jamil Fakir just inches away maybe, penalised, back-to-back penalties. And now they're staring at another deficit. And Richards holding his nerve. The crowd on his back. And the points on the board. Ice-cool nerves in the red-hot atmosphere of playoff football from the Wigan Warriors.
As I mentioned before, if you go for the intercept, you put your defence in a lot of trouble indeed. And your mind goes back to the fact when Greenshields took the inside ball through the dummy and went through, and it was a wonderful defensive effort from Mark Calderwood, and then within seconds Wigan have pounced yet again. They've gone for the short one.
But Bailey was there. They saw that one coming. He was up above everybody else, and that didn't work. And Harrison Hansen in possession now. And now you can hear the Wigan supporters. Just a faint noise in the far corner of the ground. Wigan Rugby, they're cheering. And Wigan Rugby is heading for Headingley. And that's a playoff showdown against the Leeds Rhinos.
I think Wigan have shown their fitness to its fullest tonight. Remember, 15 minutes, they were completely under the cosh. The French outfit threw everything at them, and they stood firm.
And they could finish this game with a flourish, because Catalan Dragons look a little dejected and a little shambolic, and they've got the ball back of Wigan, and Calderwood will get the try. And Greenshields, there you can see him in despair. It was his error, and another try for the Wigan Warriors. It's Calderwood this time. Well, he's moving on, is Mark Calderwood, but he's going to leave an impression here.
Just was spinning away from the full-back, Clint Greenshields, and the despair on the face of the French outfit is clear to see. He won't get an easier one than this, that is for sure. Sheer desperation to try to stop him. And the celebrations are breaking out amongst the Wigan players.
He's a big game try scorer, is Mark Calderwood. He got one against the Bulls last week. He's got one again tonight here in Perpignan, to the delight of those 150 or so.
I think the Wigan Club should buy a free ticket for every one of those to go to Headingley next week.
Chairman's just down below here, Phil.
Well, I'll pass the suggestion on after the match. Their commitment to travel here, you know, and support the side is outstanding, really, with a week's notice. And logistic difficulties, financial cost, time commitments, massive effort from them. They deserve a little reward back from the club.
They've come from as far as Dublin and even Singapore, I understand.
Yeah, a Wigan fan just a couple of rows in front of us, flown in from Singapore. What an effort. Do you see that Wigan club? Still a little bit of magic in the old cherry and white.
Certainly magic tonight, because the cherry and white has, well, it's looking good. Don't want to tempt fate as Richards, well, he thumps that one into the building site. But the cherry and white looks as though it's going to triumph over the blood and gold of Catalan.
Kicking game from Barrett has been outstanding. Okay, Greenshields come up with the error that made it quite simple for Calderwood. We mentioned earlier that he always seems to leave it at the very end of the season that Calderwood...
Oh, play on, says referee Ganson. Ragan punched that up. Sorry, Steve-O.
Just going to say there, as Greenshields, I don't think is 100%.
Well, he's totally dejected after that foul up that conceded the try, but immediately the penalty puts Wigan under pressure.
Well, we've seen 3 converted tries in 10 minutes. We have seen that happen in rugby league once a season, perhaps. In these circumstances,
Wigan surely won't put the cue on the rack yet. Elima almost went without that one. If they're going to get back into this Catalan, they need to score now. There's only 14 minutes on the clock. They get the penalty. Wigan desperately trying to halt things. Fielden argues his case with the referee Ganson. The mood Mr. Ganson's in. You don't want to do that, Stuart. The pass from Mogg. Oh, and Greenshields is flattened by Andy Coley.
Coley took him out.
Elima looking for a second try. is Jamil Fakir, I beg his pardon. He's playing in the second row tonight, Jamil Fakir. Maguire finds Mogg. Mogg, they do have the numbers out here, but Ragan can't get the ball to Pella. Oh, they messed that one up. They messed that one up. He took the wrong option, and Bailey pounces on the ball.
Well, a big centre again, just took the step, tried to go inside, go on his own. Pella was clear on that left-hand side. And this will be up the jumper time. There'll be no finesse from the Wigan outfit.
Was that it for the Catalan Dragons, Phil? Was that make or break from Mick Potter's side?
Well, if they don't score the next time they get possession, I'd say yes, Bill. Wigan's big challenge here now is to probably get up to the 25-30 metre line in this set and ask Barrett to kick it as far as possible. I think a little bit of relief there from Brian Noble.
I think he realises, Phil, that he's on his way to Headingley. And what an encounter that will be. We mentioned midway through that second half when Leeds looking out of sorts that either of these sides, Catalan and, as it's proven tonight, Wigan, that probably they would have nothing to fear. And let's face it, Brian Noble, their coach, if there's one man out there that can take them all away, he's it.
And Mickey Hyam, well, he had Richards outside him, but he comes infield and takes the tackle. Here is Barrett. Barrett is flattened by Jamil Fakir there.
He was on the shirt, and Barrett's not too happy.
Hock, Smith, Harrison Hansen. Another try here for Wigan, and they can book their travel arrangements for Headingley. Hock, and Hock will get it. He will get the try that sends Wigan Warriors to Headingley now, surely. He's deserved that. Gareth Hock out for 5 games after a suspension. He's come back to the Wigan side with a bang. A try against Bradford last week, and on target here tonight.
He's a man that can pull out something very special indeed. And with this try and his performance, especially in the second half, you must say that he's given himself a real nudge to Tony Smith, the England coach. He's had a tremendous match. It's been a good team effort. Some of the tries have been quite sensational.
Well, I think that's Wigan's 4th try in a 12-minute period. And that guy who's just scored the last one seems to have an ability, such a rare talent, to score at will. You knew when he demanded possession from the player of the ball, he had only one intention. He was going to put the ball over the try line and end this game as a contest. But I think the important part of this match, and the only 15 minutes that Brian Noble needs to show his side in preparation for next week, were the first 15 minutes, when their defence was so strong. They withstood the early charges and the early challenge that Catalan threw down at them and stayed in the game.
And Richards has contributed greatly to that. So has Gareth Hock.
Good upper body strength. That is the one thing that he has a wonderful advantage in. He looks quite slim. And I think a lot of defenders perhaps underestimate this man. They don't. They're happy.
Well, the Wigan fans are happy, and the Catalan fans defiantly still chanting. And what a season it has been for the Catalan Dragons. This will be a major disappointment, but they've gone from 12th to 10th to 3rd, then made an impact in the playoffs. You can't really ask for more. The Dragons fans would have hoped for more here tonight. Further progress. But it's some achievement already for this Catalan side.
There's been some smart moves by the coach as well. Brian Noble has rang the changes, and this fella has just offloaded Trent Barrett. He said he wanted to go out on a big note.
Well, he says he's got his return home flight booked for October the 6th. He intends to be busy right up to that date.
Well, they know they're only 80 minutes away from a trip to Old Trafford. Won't be easy, of course. Headingley never is.
Wigan leading 44-20 here. Murphy is dumped to the ground. The penalty is conceded. The question really that Wigan fans will be asking now is, can they lift again at Headingley next Friday against a wounded Leeds Rhinos side?
Well, they seem to have a fit squad. Nobody appears injured from this contest. The confidence that this will give so many of the, I think particularly the younger players, Harrison Hansen, Joel Tompkins, Eamon O'Carroll, to come here and win a match in the playoffs. It's invaluable experience for their careers, one that hopefully they can translate to a positive next week in Leeds.
Catalan, defiant to the end, looking to come back, but Greenshields trying to keep that ball alive, can't do so. Well, he was named in the dream team earlier in the week, but the dream has turned into a bit of a nightmare for Clint Greenshields in this second half.
You talk about the substitutions by Brian Noble. I think perhaps one of the biggest impacts was when he brought back into the fray Mickey Hyam, and from that moment on, Wigan have just been flowing. Exciting rugby league football has been on display.
Catalan supporters, you'd expect them to be drifting home, maybe doing the Wigan walk, their own version of the Wigan walk tonight, but they're not doing it. I think they're going to stay and salute their side.
Well, they can feel very proud of a wonderful season.
Oh, is that 40-20?
It is, I think. Yes,
Just
it is. Yeah,
so too.
We're getting back to the point
that sums it up, doesn't it, for the Dragons? The dejection on Justin Murphy's face, the high of 4 tries last week and that win over Warrington, and back down to earth tonight.
Well, we wondered how much it would take out of them. And I think that Mick Potter perhaps realised he threw everything, didn't he? Phil was talking about how strong Wigan's defence was in that first quarter. And I think that Mick Potter realised that he needed good points early to get them through. And when they didn't score, I think they started to flounder.
Out! Oh, and Barrett, for the first time tonight, comes up in a blunder. Well, we said at the outset that this was being billed as the clash between the aristocrats and the revolutionaries. And true to form, Phil, because nothing changes, the aristocrats have come out on top. They do eventually, don't they?
Well, the revolutionaries need to go back underground. They've got a winter to prepare for next season. And let's see what the French side, under a new coach, new leadership, 1 or 2 new players, they won't have the surprise element that they have.
And do you think sides will be so fearful of coming here to Perpignan as well, after seeing how Wigan have kept their nerve and come through this trial tonight?
I think everybody next year realises that a trip down here is not going to be easy. Okay, they've been outplayed tonight. And one of the great facets of this Wigan outfit is the fact that the big guns from the Dragons, they've been snuffed out. We haven't seen the combination of Mogg and Bosk as we've seen so often this year, and that's come about because they've pinpointed and they've defended well.
Mathers.
Ooh,
Mathers has had a clash of heads, I think, with Thomas Bosk.
Yeah, he's gone down as the scrum half, quite heavily as well.
Bailey sets Calderwood away, and Calderwood gets away from Clint Greenshields and is eventually tackled by Thomas Bosk. Wigan 5 minutes away now from that final eliminator. They got to within 80 minutes of the grand final last year. They've got another chance this year as Cameron Phelps goes on the outside.
He's had a big game as that fella Phelps. Really has. In fact, they all have. It's been a wonderful team effort. Not only will it please the fans, but the coaching staff at Wigan.
And they'll go to Leeds knowing that they can win there. They won 14-10 at Headingley back in April. Oh, and now just an error from Bailey, and Pello will pick it up. Here is Jean-Philippe Bale.
Can they finish with a flourish? At least it will give the crowd something to cheer about and go home. And
well, they're looking to do that. They've been well beaten in this second half by a Wigan side that has shown great character and great nous, and no little skill as well. It's playoff form. And it's experience that Wigan have put to good use, but that is a lovely try that Mogg has set up for John Wilson. Although it won't be awarded yet. Was Wilson onside? Will Wilson get the satisfaction of bowing out here in Perpignan with a try to his name? Mogg's kick.
Well, it seems okay from that angle, but you can see Pat Richards saying he was offside. We see this on the wider shot.
Looks as though Croker and
He's okay.
Wilson are onside there.
Yeah, this will be given.
Just read that superbly, John Wilson did.
It's a nice move. Trouble is it came far too late.
The try is awarded, and John Wilson gets his 7th try of the season. And still, Steve Ganson is not in a good mood. Well, there's only 3 minutes to go here.
Probably worth explaining what he's trying to do there. He needs to be stood behind the goal kicker to have a view of the kick. You get to see again here. What a beautiful little chip shot over the top. He scored from that to win a game at the Millennium Magic at the death. This one at the end of this game won't produce a win.
Bosk with the conversion. John Wilson with the try. He moves on at the end of this. Well, after tonight he moves on. Although he will be playing for France in the World Cup. He has qualified through his French residency. And a little celebration from him, but it's muted for this Catalan side.
Nice skills. As I mentioned before, far too late.
Catalan supporters now quiet. You can see John Money in the corner of the shot there. Well, he will be relieved, because it means that he now has the French players available to take part in the training camp that he is running next week in the Swiss Alps. Well, they might be World Cup underdogs, but it's pretty exotic. Gilles Dumas alongside him.
Well, one of the reasons for the Catalan Dragons entry in Super League was to help French Rugby League, not just this area, and give another club and a new dimension to the competition. And I hope that this experience here tonight, I hope there's some young lads here watching this game for the first time, that in 5-10 years' time go on to play and are inspired. You know, maybe at the time they've been to rugby union games around here, but they think, no, I fancy a piece of this action. And these experiences for so many French players could be the catalyst for the revival of the French national side.
I think you're right, Phil, because it's already got underway. There's Wigan come up with possession yet again. Not surprisingly, the French outfit are trying to keep this ball alive.
John Money, of course, a Wigan hero, took them to their only ever grand final win. Now then.
10 years ago, a decade on, can history repeat itself?
Brian Noble will be hoping so, because his side have certainly shown that they've got the ability to go all the way here tonight. He knows about grand final success. Does the coach? Can the side taste it?
Mickey Hyam, can we have a solo? We'd like to add his name to it.
It's Mathers. Chance for Calderwood to get a second try of the night. He'll do that, bit of showboating from the winger. And then he dots the ball down. And Wigan are coasting home here. You didn't think that we'd say about this game at one stage that a side would be coasting, but that is the case here in this second half.
Totally outplayed in the second stanza. And quick hands, superb, right across the three-quarter line. Thought for one moment maybe that Mickey Hyam would have gone straight on. Calderwood just waltzed in, touches down. They're happy. There'll be celebrations tonight, not only down here in Perpignan in the south of France, but back home. The aristocrats, as you call them, Bill. Maybe a few people back home in the Wigan area will be thinking maybe.
Pat Richards, who has had a wonderful night for this Wigan Warriors side. It's funny, you know, Mark Calderwood scores 2 tries in the regular season. He's got 3 already in the playoffs. Talk about coming good at the right time of the season.
He saves his best till last, that's for sure.
Well, the other word, you know, that the French media have been using about the Wigan Warriors this week is mythic, mythical. And the myth is still alive here as the hooter sounds And Wigan celebrates a victory that's concluded by that Mark Calderwood try. They hit 50 points, the Wigan Warriors. They knew this was a tough task here in Perpignan tonight, but they have come through it with style. The Catalan Dragons bow out. It's Wigan who head for Headingley and a final eliminator against the Leeds Rhinos. They've won by 50 points to 26.
Yes, 50 points to 26, the final score, as you can see. And for the second year in a row, Wigan Warriors under Brian Noble are just 80 minutes away from a possible appearance in the grand final. But let's not forget the season that the Catalan Dragons have had. And they were magnificent again tonight. A great contest we have enjoyed in Perpignan. So next Friday, it's the final eliminator. Leeds against Wigan. Sky Sports 1 and HD 1 at 7:30. And whoever wins that, of course, will go forward to the grand final itself on October the 4th at Old Trafford, and there they will face St Helens. A great game. That was not coming, was it, at half-time when Wigan were just ahead, but boy, they pushed the foot on the gas in the second half, and in the end they ran away with the match easily. We're already looking forward to next Friday, and probably, here's hoping, a full house at Headingley. We'll have a little bit of time in hand here tonight to discuss that match in a few moments' time. But first of all, Barry McDermott, a fantastic performance from Wigan in the second half. Brian Noble has got his tactics spot on in the playoffs, hasn't he?
It was an absolute classic, and momentum toed and ebbed and flowed, and I think probably Catalan's lack of composure cost them at vital times. They were always going for the throat. As you see some of the players now, there are players that have played the final game for the club, Wilson being one of them, but I think when they evaluate this game, they'll look at the chances that they didn't have, and they didn't capitalise on those chances, and they'll see that's where they lost the game.
Just had a little glimpse there. There's the man of the match, Pat Richards, from all accounts. But we just had a little glimpse there of Trent Barrett. Now, he said that he didn't want to go home with purely and simply the Players' Player of the Year in his suitcase from last year. He would love to go home with a Super League winner's ring. In the form he's showing in these playoffs, it's a possibility.
Absolutely. He goes to Headingley Carnegie Stadium next week, full of vim and vigour and confidence as well. He's marshalled his troops. Pat Richards had a great game, don't get me wrong, but Trent Barrett was everything that was good about Wigan tonight. Gareth O'Connell, another player who I felt lifted them when he got on, and his experience and his input was invaluable.
I'm told that there's nothing wrong with Thomas Luluwai, by the way. It was purely and simply a tactical switch by Brian Noble. He took Luluwai off, he threw Mickey Hyam back on. It worked. It worked perfectly.
That's what coaches get paid for, Eddie. They're paid to make those decisions. You can't take players' egos into account. You need to do something. There's, you know, people and players and coaches can sit and think, oh, well, I wonder whether I'd have done this, whether that would have made a difference. Brian Noble ain't afraid to sit and wonder. He just does it, and it's paid dividends tonight. It
has paid dividends tonight. You know, when you think about the impact that Trent Barrett has had on these playoffs over the past 2 weeks, it beggars the question, how on earth are we going to replace him next year? I know Tim Smith is there, but who's going to be the kingpin for Wigan?
I'm not sure it'd be Tim Smith. Trent Barrett is a world-class player. We'll look at the players that are available in this country, and I don't think there's many that fit the bracket of Trent Barrett. So the recruitment staff, I think it's Joe Lydon that looks after that. He'll have to work pretty hard in the off-season. You know, I think they've got somebody lined up to replace him, but he'll have to be pretty good because Trent Barrett was outstanding tonight.
Well, we're keeping our fingers crossed. We're going to talk to one or two of the leading figures in the match we've just watched from Perpignan. But let's have a look at the second half highlights now. And from a Wigan point of view, Barry, they were many and plentiful.
Yeah, that's right. It started the opening of the half with an opportunity. Now, Trent Barrett, just in the middle of your screen, kicks this ball. Pat Richard goes on to touch the ball down, but Trent Barrett was a judge to have been offside, so the try was cancelled out. Carmont come up with a great defensive effort. Wilson offloaded the ball. Sometimes you've got to take your licks, but Wilson decided to offload that ball, and again, Pat Richards, 80-90 metres to go. He doesn't make no mistakes. Catalan came back. The supporting player, I think it's Clint Greenshield here, makes it a one-on-one, and Alima, with all the power and determination, just bangs this ball down, trying to get his team back into the game. Then momentum started to switch a little bit. Wilson trying to make up for his error, makes that break. Murphy gets his try, gets his just rewards.
And we were on the way then to extra time.
Exactly. Gareth Ott comes up with a beautiful cut-out pass. And Wigan are back in the game. And again, Trent Barrett, watch what he does. He passes the ball. The break's made. Where's Trent Barrett? Pass and follow. Great players always do that. And you can tell it means much more. Clint Greenshield's an uncharacteristic mistake. And I said at the start of the show that Wigan would have to be good on the kick chase, and Calderwood's the best exponent of that in the game. Gareth Ott, I'm a big admirer of this bloke. I think for England, he's got to be on that plane. He's rough and he has no respect for anybody's reputation, and he needs to be there to make the Australians and the Kiwis sit up and have a look at this English side. Catalan scored a try with Wilson. Tompkins, a glorious ball there, give Calderwood his second try of the match. And it was just a superb game.
You'd never in your wildest dream believe that Wigan would score 50 points in Perpignan tonight, but that's the measure of their capability. It's also the measure of their performance tonight. Now we look ahead to next weekend. There's going to be a full house at Headingley, isn't there? There
is. Headingley-Carnegie will be packed to the rafters. The Rhinos are coming off the back of a defeat, and I think Saints were superb. They matched and beat the Rhinos in every single department of the game of rugby league. But they'll be wounded, they'll go back, they'll lick their wounds, they'll come back bigger and stronger. Be a fantastic atmosphere at the ground on Friday night. Can Wigan keep that momentum? Can they look to players like Trent Barrett and Pat Richards and Gareth Ott again and overcome the Rhinos? Some questions to be answered, Eddie.
There is indeed, and there's more questions to be answered right now because Bill in the south of France has got one of the Wigan heroes with him. Man we've been talking about tonight, it's Trent Barrett.
Trent, the scoreboard shows an emphatic Wigan victory, but crikey, that took some achieving.
Mate, it did, though. Pretty tough game, and it's very hard to beat them down here. It's something we haven't done for a while, so it was a great effort by our guys and probably against the odds.
It was the start of the it was the beginning of the second half that was really crucial, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. You know, we had to score more points than I think the 14 or whatever we had at half time to beat them. So we did that, and you know, it was a great effort. And you know, it's exciting now. We're one game away, and who knows what can happen next week. So it's good stuff.
Well, that's right. I mean, your thoughts already will turn to Leeds. You've won there this season.
Yeah, that's right. They're a good side to play against Leeds. They play a good brand of footy, but we're going to have to bring our game to beat them and probably play the best we've played all year. We'll have to do better than what we did tonight to beat Leeds. They're a terrific side, and they're going to be pretty keyed up after their defeat last night.
I read that you've got your return flight booked for October the 6th, and you intend to keep busy until then.
Yeah, mate. I've got nothing else to do, so I'll really looking forward to these next, hopefully two games, and finish on a real high. But you know, it'd be great to get to Old Trafford.
Thanks, Trent.
Beauty. Thank you very much.
Brilliant game from Trent Barrett. He was one of the heroes, but I suppose the real hero for Wigan tonight is the coach, Brian Noble, because he made all the changes, all the little tactical switches. He's got them to within 80 minutes of a Super League Grand Final again for the second year in a row. Let's hear the coach now. He's talking to Bill again.
Brian, you've known some big nights in playoff rugby league, but this must be up with them.
Oh, it's a really hard place to come and win, and to win comfortably in the end, I don't think there's justice to the Catalans. You know, they really, at times there, we're hanging on by our fingernails. You know, 20 all in the second half, and we showed enough resilience and the right kind of attitude to get us to the right end of the field, and I thought, you know, our halves tonight were particularly good.
You took a real hammering early on, and they were really throwing everything at you. Were you worried that was going to prove draining later on?
Well, of course you worry, but the amount of desire and the scramble, and do you know what? They're still a bit fresh in there, so I think we've got a bit of juice in there.
Kidding?
No, they've absolutely thrown themselves into this and given everything. But the euphoria of the win, and when we cement their feet back on the ground in England at the beginning of the week, we know we've now got another tough job next week, so we'll focus on that. But you know, to come here and win in the manner we did is a special, you know, that is a special praise.
Yeah, I mean, you'll enjoy this, but very quickly think about going to Headingley, where you've enjoyed success this season.
Yeah, it doesn't mean to say we'll enjoy it again. You know, yeah, as I said on many occasions, they're a terrific team, and they'll be smarting from their defeat last night. You know, they're probably finishing the top two because they've been the top two team all year. What I know for a fact is that, you know, we'll give it a good shot.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Pleasure.
And here's your opposite number, Mick Potter. Brian has just said, I mean, that scoreline does not in any way tell the story of that game.
No, we're a little unlucky in the first half. I thought our execution wasn't as good as what it could have been and what it hasn't been, you know, that bad, and the boys have been pretty disappointed with themselves. And yeah, the score didn't indicate how close the game was. If we had executed a little better in the first half, maybe it's a whole different game. But it was a bit slow that first half, wasn't it?
Well, there were some uncharacteristic errors as well. Was that maybe the tension of the night?
I'm not sure. Maybe it's some nerves, but it's going to be a great match for Wigan and Leeds next week, so to get in the grand final. Our blokes will have a drink now.
And you say farewell to Perpignan. It's going to be an emotional night.
Yeah, it is. I'll be very sad to leave. It's a great place to live, and you know, if we take some of the weather across to England, it'll be great.
It will be, Mick. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, fingers